During the interview, the reporter asked me, Mr. Han's new drama includes many intimate scenes with the female lead. What are your thoughts on that? I smiled casually. It's sweet. The reporter was stunned for a moment, then followed up. Do you think this will affect your relationship with Mr. Han? After all, he never used to take on romantic roles. It won't. Why not? Because we're already divorced. The interview went viral. My phone blew up with calls. Edward Han's voice came through the line. Simmering with anger, when did we get divorced? Why didn't I know about it? I knocked on the hotel door with the divorce papers in hand. Now, Chapter 1. #Edward Oriana marriage scandal #Edward Vanessa #Vanessa the homewrecker The interview exploded online, dominating the top 3 trending searches. My phone was practically ringing off the hook. I turned on Do Not Disturb mode and lay down in the backseat of the nanny van to rest. A nearby tablet was still playing behind-the-scenes footage of Edward and Vanessa kissing so intensely that there were literal strings of saliva between them. My manager, Elena, was stunned. You two divorced? When did that happen? I answered bluntly. He cheated. Elena instantly understood. She shut the tablet, and the car fell into a silence so deep, you could hear nothing but my ragged breathing. She sighed, wanting to comfort me but not knowing where to begin. You and Edward have been together for 7 years. Everyone knew how in love you were. You were the model couple in the entertainment industry. Could this all be a misunderstanding? I said nothing, rolled down the window, and let the cold wind dry the tears that were about to spill out. Just last night, I received news that Edward and Vanessa had gotten a hotel room together. I was devastated for a long time, cried so hard my body convulsed. Then, I stayed up all night having the divorce papers drafted. It's precisely because we were together for 7 years that betrayal is unforgivable. Chapter 2. I arrived at the hotel. I answered Edward's call. His panicked voice came through, barely suppressing his anger. Oriana Lancaster. What the hell are you doing? When did we get divorced? Why don't I know anything about it? He only ever called me by my full name when he was truly furious. The last time was when I splashed a glass of red wine in Vanessa's face. Now, I knocked on his hotel room door. The door opened, and Edward, still holding his phone, locked eyes with me. He was shirtless, wearing only a bath towel. His defined abs and sharp V-line were fully on display, as well as faint scratch marks on his arms. What are you doing here? I ignored him and stepped inside, tossing the divorce agreement onto the table. Sign it. Edward picked it up, casually flipped through a few pages, then tossed it onto the sofa. He let out a laugh full of disbelief and ran his hand through his hair. All this just because of some intimate scenes with Vanessa? Isn't that completely normal? Oriana, I'm exhausted. Can you stop being so unreasonable? Edward. I lowered my gaze and took a deep breath. You promised me when we got married that you wouldn't take intimate scenes. Edward always had a possessive streak. If a script had a kissing scene, he would either reject the role entirely or pressure the director to change it. There was once a scene where, caught up in the atmosphere, the male lead improvised a kiss on my cheek. The next day, he was replaced, disappeared from the industry completely after that. Edward has always been an obsessive control freak. But now, he broke our promise, for another woman. He gave Vanessa a special privilege, and that was all the proof I needed that his heart had changed. Edward's expression twisted briefly, but he quickly recovered and forced a smile. He walked over, wrapped his arms around my waist, and gently bit my earlobe. This was just a one-time thing. I won't take roles like that again, all right? As for the divorce, I don't want to hear about it again, okay? I was about to push him away when suddenly, a flirtatious female voice rang out. Edward, I think the bathroom faucet's broken. Oh, Oriana, what are you doing here? Vanessa was wearing a skimpy camisole barely covering her backside. Her damp hair draped over her shoulders, revealing kiss marks scattered along her neck. Maybe sensing my eyes on her, she hastily tucked her dress down a bit lower, which only made things look more suspicious. Vanessa's cheeks flushed pink, and she bit her lip shyly. Oriana, it's not what it looks like between me and Edward. Edward instinctively grabbed his suit jacket from the sofa, preparing to cover her with it. But I was faster. I raised my phone and snapped several photos in rapid succession. Sign the papers, or I'll release the photos. How about this for a headline? Top actor cheats with rising starlet, caught red-handed after a steamy night at the hotel. Edward clicked his tongue impatiently and tried to explain. She got drunk at the wrap party last night. It wasn't safe for a girl to be alone, so I brought her here. Nothing happened between us. I ignored his feeble excuse and said clearly, one word at a time, you have 3 seconds. 3, 2. Edward grabbed the divorce papers off the sofa, signed them with a few quick strokes, and threw them at me. There, happy now? Had your fun? I nodded, picked up the signed papers, and turned to leave. He suddenly called after me, helplessness thick in his voice. Oriana. You weren't like this before. When did you become so unreasonable? My footsteps paused. I suddenly remembered when I first met Vanessa. Edward had said those exact same words. Chapter 3. Vanessa was a new actress signed by the company. She looked somewhat like me, and netizens jokingly called her Oriana 2.0. At first, Edward was indignant about the comparison. He'd wrap his arms around me and grumble, Oriana 2.0? Don't be ridiculous. My wife is one of a kind. That girl? She's not even worthy of a single strand of your hair. He constantly told me how much he disliked Vanessa riding on my coattails. When Vanessa mimicked my style of dressing, he scoffed and said she was just a cheap copycat seeking attention. When she copied my makeup looks, he said she looked tacky and laughable. But even he didn't realize he was bringing her up more and more often in front of me. Someone supposedly irrelevant had begun to take up space in our conversations. Even during meals, he would casually mock her. Vanessa can't stand cilantro either. She acted like she was dying. But how would he know what she liked or didn't like, unless he'd eaten with her? I was annoyed and slammed my chopsticks down on the table. Seriously? Can you stop bringing up Vanessa in every damn sentence? Edward, don't tell me you've got feelings for her? Edward rushed to reassure me. Right there in front of me, he deleted Vanessa's WeChat. But just a few days later, at a business party, Vanessa had gotten drunk after being pressured by one of the investors to drink. Edward, in front of everyone, smashed a bottle over the investor's head. He completely ignored me standing off to the side, pale-faced, and instead held Vanessa by the shoulder, scowling as he declared, our company's artists don't entertain clients like that. Trying to cool off, I went to the bathroom. When I came out, Edward was dragging a tearful, red-faced Vanessa over to me. His tone was harsh. If you're mad, take it out on me. Why did you hit her? Oriana, since when did you become so unreasonable? That night, Edward didn't come home. A few days of Cold War passed. Then he returned with a rare necklace from an overseas auction, trying to make it up to me. Don't be mad, baby. It's just that when I saw her like that, I suddenly remembered how you were forced to drink all those years ago. I lost control. He couldn't protect me 7 years ago, so now, he wanted to protect Vanessa instead. Edward fastened the necklace around my neck and cleared his schedule to stay home with me for quite some time. I smiled at him again, and he thought the matter had been laid to rest. What he didn't know was, I had found Vanessa's private Instagram account. It documented the 3 days they spent traveling together at the seaside. Chapter 4. My first encounter with Edward was quite dramatic. At the time, I was just another struggling background actress in Beijing, and he was a second-generation heir who defied his family's expectations. Determined to chase his dream in the entertainment industry, his parents were dead set on toughening him up, cut off all his credit cards, and even sent people to make life difficult for him. The first time I met him was on the street in the middle of the night. I had just finished a night shoot and was squatting by the roadside, eating a grilled sausage to fill my stomach. Suddenly, I felt an intense stare. I turned around and met a pair of glowing green eyes lurking in a dark alley. I bought Edward a grilled sausage. We squatted side by side on the sidewalk. He told me he was also chasing his acting dreams in this city. Just another nobody trying to make it big. We talked all night, thinking we'd found some kind of soul connection. After that, every night, we'd come back to that same spot and talk about our lives as background extras on set. As time passed, we developed feelings for each other. We moved in together, crammed inside a tiny rental apartment. In that room soaked with cooking fumes and mildew, on a creaky iron bed that could barely stay upright. We made love again and again, desperate and breathless. For those 3 years, We chased our dreams together, leaning on each other, guarding each other's backs, supporting one another as we clawed our way out of nothing. The night Edward won the Best New Actor award, he finally gained his parents' recognition and support, and he revealed to me his identity as the heir of the Han family. I was hurt by his deception and refused to see him, locking him out, to apologize. He stood outside in a downpour all night. The next day, he collapsed with a high fever and had to be taken to the hospital. When he woke up, the first thing he did was try to get out of bed and come find me. My heart softened. He gave me a lavish wedding. In the peak of his rising career, he didn't hesitate to go public with our relationship. He gave me the best of everything. Everyone said I had married up, turned from a nobody into a star. And over time, even Edward started to believe that. He slowly forgot those 3 years we spent in that damp, 20-square-meter room, struggling, lost, and in pain. Chapter 5. Walking out of the hotel, I turned on my phone. The trending topic accusing Vanessa of being a homewrecker had already been taken down. Edward had posted a clarifying statement on Instagram. "We're not divorced. My wife's just throwing a tantrum. I'm already coaxing her." The comments were flooded with compliments calling Edward a wife-doting king. But there were also quite a few attacking me. "It's just a few intimate scenes. Oriana's possessiveness is terrifying. Edward stayed loyal to her on screen for so many years. With that level of control, does she have some kind of abandonment issues? Honestly, Oriana's just not it. She should feel lucky to have a top star and rich heir as her husband. Throwing a fit over a drama scene? Some people stay sparrows no matter how high they fly, never destined to shine. Our poor Vanessa, a self-made girl with no backing, just getting hate because she's talented enough to act opposite Edward? So unfair. So heartbreaking. Neutral bystander here. But am I the only one who thinks Edward and Vanessa make a better couple? Yes. Totally agree with the comment above. Honestly, even if Vanessa replaces Oriana, it's Oriana's fault for failing to keep Edward's heart. Loser. In the past, Edward would have deleted hate comments like these without hesitation. But this time, maybe to teach me a lesson. Not only did he leave them up, he even liked some of them. Elena was beside me, on the phone with our team, trying to manage the PR crisis. I was exhausted. I lay down in the nanny van and fell asleep. When I woke up, it was nearly midnight. Dozens of unread messages lit up my screen. I was just about to check them when Edward's call came through. "Oriana, where are you? Why didn't you come home tonight?" I didn't answer. There was a pause on the other end. I could hear Edward's heavy breathing. He let out a sigh. "Oriana, you don't really think a divorce agreement is enough to end things between us, do you? It was just to humor you. Come home now, okay?" Edward wasn't wrong. Divorcing the heir of the Han family wasn't going to be that simple. To him, the agreement I handed him was no more meaningful than a few sheets of blank paper. In his eyes, today's drama was nothing more than playing along with his jealous little pet's tantrum. I responded calmly. "Edward, you don't seriously think there's a future between us, do you?" Maybe that piece of paper held no legal weight, but it reflected my stance. There would be no more us. Even if it ends in a brutal, bloody mess, this marriage is over. Edward let out a cold laugh, his tone lazy and laced with threat. "Oriana, don't joke like that. You know what happens when you piss me off." On the other end of the line, I could hear the dull thump of Edward tapping his fingers against the table. The sound echoed eerily in the quiet of the night. I knew exactly how low and dirty Edward could get when he was angry. I curved my lips into a smile and laughed softly. "Wait and see." Then, without giving him another second to speak, I hung up. My reflection appeared in the window, messy hair, tired face. This would be the last time I wasted a single tear over someone so rotten, or a love so diseased. I knew how vile Edward could become when crossed, but I wasn't afraid, and I'd never bow my head again. This war, I would be the one smiling at the end. The only one. Chapter 6. Edward's warning came quickly. I was originally cast as the female lead in a major historical drama centered on a strong heroine, but just before filming was set to begin, the role was given to Vanessa. Vanessa had been riding a wave of popularity lately, her career path increasingly overlapping with mine, with Edward's pressure behind the scenes. The director didn't even put up a fight. Edward showed up on set for the very first day of filming. As one of the investors, no one in the crew dared treat him casually. He was pampered with parasols, fans, and Starbucks on rotation. During a break, Vanessa plopped down next to him like it was the most natural thing in the world, excitedly chattering about her emotional process while acting. Edward only responded with vague, distracted nods, his deep, unreadable eyes fixed squarely on me through the crowd. I ignored him, standing under the corridor reading my script. Beside me, my assistant fanned me and asked curiously, "Sis, isn't Mr. Han here to see you? Why aren't you sitting with him? Come on, you're married, no need to act so distant, right?" There was an empty seat right next to Edward. My assistant, unaware of what had happened between us, still assumed he was here to visit me. Of course I knew he was giving me an out, trying to offer me a chance to reconcile in public. But if he truly wanted to make peace, would he really let Vanessa sit that close to him? Especially after stealing my lead role? Using my career as leverage against me? How despicable, unforgivable. Maybe Edward noticed the annoyance on my face. He waved a hand and casually instructed his assistant, "Vanessa loves that sour plum drink, make sure the whole crew gets some." One by one, the staff began praising how close they were, their words making Vanessa blush. Her lashes fluttered delicately as she smiled and stole a glance at me. "Don't say that. Not in front of Oriana," she said sweetly. Only then did the crew seem to remember I, the actual wife, was still here. The set fell into sudden silence. Chapter 7. The atmosphere on set grew tense, and that tension peaked during the next scene. In this scene, the female lead discovers the supporting female character was the one secretly sabotaging her all along. During the confrontation, the script called for a solid slap across the face. It was a key moment, one of those cathartic scenes meant to be hard-hitting, literally and emotionally. I got into character quickly, glared at Vanessa with anger and disdain, and sneered. "So what if you know it was me now? What can you even do, Abu?" Before I could finish my line, Vanessa suddenly raised her hand and slapped me across the face, hard enough that I staggered back several steps. A hot sting flared across my cheek, swelling up visibly. Vanessa's eyes welled with tears, and she bit her lip in feigned remorse. "I'm so sorry, Oriana. Your acting was just so good. I couldn't hold back." As soon as the director yelled cut, my assistant rushed over with an ice pack and pressed it against my cheek, glaring at Vanessa. "If you're gonna hit, at least finish the damn scene." I didn't press the issue, just dabbed on some concealer and gestured for the director to continue. But Vanessa kept messing up. She forgot her lines, delivered them poorly, or ad-libbied them outright, and ended up slapping me 6 more times. I pushed my tongue against my inner cheek. The taste of rust, blood and spit, swirled in my mouth. I swallowed it down with a sticky breath that left my chest aching and heavy. Meanwhile, Vanessa stood off to the side, acting all innocent. "I'm really sorry, Oriana. You're such a professional. I've only just started in the industry. I need your help to get into the emotional state." The director chuckled awkwardly. To him, I was the investor's wife, and Vanessa was the investor's rumored girlfriend, with no idea how much Edward favored either one of us. He couldn't afford to offend anyone. Why don't we shoot the next scene first? We might need to revise this one." Unexpectedly, Edward, who'd stayed silent since filming began, suddenly cleared his throat and looked right at me, one brow raised. I knew what he wanted. He was waiting for me to back down. I averted my gaze and looked at the director. "Let's continue." The director glanced at Edward's dark expression and cautiously suggested, "Should we maybe fake the slap this time? Cheat the angle?" A pause. Then Edward's low voice came through, "No need." The director let out a breath of relief and was about to give instructions when Edward added, "No need to fake it. Someone as professional as MS Oriana surely wouldn't settle for such unconvincing methods." In one sentence, he hoisted me onto a pedestal. Suddenly, I remembered a rumor I'd heard not long ago, that Vanessa had once been slapped on set by another actress. She cried for hours afterward. Edward had barged into the dressing room, demanded justice, and told Vanessa to slap the woman back. He said the exact same thing to me once. Back then, I had been emotionally disconnected from a role and got slapped hard by the director as correction. That night, Edward had gently rolled a warm boiled egg over my bruised cheek while gritting his teeth. "Don't worry. Oriana, soon enough. I'll make sure you get to slap them back. And he did. He made sure that actress disappeared from the industry, erased from every script and gossip thread like she never existed. The memory gripped my chest with a sharp, twisting ache. I pressed my hand to my heart and took a deep breath. It's okay, Oriana. You never needed him to return that slap for you. It's only a matter of time. Just like now. After Vanessa once again slapped me, this time under the excuse of forgetting her line and asking for a retake. The sound of heels echoed in the distance, growing louder with each sharp click, until a cold, crisp voice cut through the tension, dragging every syllable with disdain. What kind of gutter trash did you dig up to play my female lead? The timing couldn't have been more perfect. Chapter 8. The person who arrived was Fiona Montgomery, the real power behind this entire production. If there was ever such a thing as a true heiress among elites, then Fiona wasn't just the daughter of a powerful family, she was the empress in waiting. In her first year back from studying abroad, she made waves with 2 primetime drama hits. Within the industry, she was known as a queen-level hard-ass. Almost no one dared to mess around under her nose. Today was the day she returned to the country after wrapping up work overseas. I had a feeling she'd show up on set. Clearly, I bet right. I breathed a sigh of relief, greeted her respectfully, and made sure to tilt my face just enough so the swelling on one cheek was clearly visible. Fiona was obviously pissed. She slammed a thick stack of documents down on the table and snapped. Who the hell gave permission for anyone to sneak people into my crew? The set went dead silent, but every single pair of eyes shifted instantly to Edward. Vanessa's face flushed bright red under the scolding. Tears welled in her eyes as she quietly ducked behind Edward. Edward stood up, straightened his jacket, and extended a hand. Fiona, long time no see. Fiona narrowed her eyes and let out a cold laugh. Mr. Hahn, are we close? They were both from elite circles. No one expected Fiona to snub him like that, especially not publicly. But unfortunately for Edward Hahn, Fiona was someone he couldn't afford to offend. His smile froze, trying to salvage the moment. He reminded her, Miss Montgomery, I'm one of the investors on this production. Oh. Fiona casually picked up the documents and flipped through a few pages, then flung the entire bundle into Vanessa's face, scattering the papers everywhere. Wow. The young Master Hahn invested 50 million. Fancy. And what? You think that makes you impressive? You throw in a few measly coins and think that gives you the right to shove your little tabloid fling into my set? And not only that, Fiona gave Vanessa a once-over, her expression openly filled with disgust. You brought me substandard goods. Edward, I don't give a damn about your little scandals, but let me make one thing clear, my set doesn't keep dead weight. So do me a favor, pull your investment, and take your girlfriend with you. Get the hell out. Chapter 9. Vanessa was kicked off the production. Not only was she publicly scolded, but she was also blacklisted from ever receiving another script from Miss Montgomery's team again. She cried so hard while packing up in the dressing room that her makeup was ruined. Her smeared eyeliner looked like raccoon eyes, utterly pitiful and disheveled. At the time, I was applying ointment to my swollen cheek. It had been sent over specially by Miss Montgomery's assistant, per her instructions. Oriana, you must be feeling pretty proud right now. Huh? Vanessa gritted her molars. You think you're hot shit just because Fiona's backing you? So what? I still slapped you in the face multiple times. I may not be the lead anymore, but swelling your face? Worth it. Vanessa. I sighed, setting the ointment aside. There's no one else in this dressing room. She frowned, clearly confused, and let out a scoff. So? I stood up and locked the door behind me. Conveniently, there are no cameras either. The next second, before she even had time to react, I yanked her by the hair and landed a slap hard across her face. I didn't hold back. Each strike cracked through the air with force. Red, swollen fingerprints bloomed across her cheeks one after another. I was half a head taller than her. She didn't stand a chance against me. In no time, her face was swollen like a pig's, and blood dripped from her nose. When I finally stopped, my hand was numb and throbbing. 10 slaps. Now we're even. Vanessa clutched her face and cried like a tragic heroine, sobbing, You're shameless. Oriana, you cheated. I only slapped you 8 times. I took a sip of water, tired. You forgot the one from the gala, the one where you falsely accused me. Vanessa rolled her eyes. That still only makes 9. Buy 9. Get 1 free. What a deal. I raised my hand again. Now get lost. Vanessa knew she couldn't win and didn't dare fight back. She glared at me and yanked the door open to leave, only to bump right into Edward. The moment she saw him, she threw herself into his arms like she'd found her savior. She burst into dramatic sobs and pointed at me. Edward. Oriana hit me because she's jealous you're protecting me. Edward frowned, peeled her off him, and shoved her out the door. Then he stepped inside and closed it behind him. When he looked at me, his gaze softened. Oriana, does it hurt? He lifted the back of his hand to touch my face, but I dodged. His hand froze in the air. He wasn't embarrassed, but a complicated expression crossed his eyes. He let out a long sigh. Oriana, you've really changed. You're even learning how to manipulate me now. I curled my lips. Takes one to know one. Why are you being so stubborn? Would it kill you to lower your head just once? You knew damn well that if you had just looked at me, even once, I would have made Vanessa pack her things and leave that very second. What a joke. I raised an eyebrow. And what difference would that have made? I didn't look at you, and she still got kicked off set. Edward stiffened. He scanned me from head to toe with his eyes. Gaze heavy. After a long pause, his voice came out hoarse. Oriana, you've changed. You didn't used to be like this. The old Oriana never argued with Edward. When she felt wronged, she'd throw herself into his arms and demand he take revenge for her with all claws bared. But the Oriana standing before him now was like a panther with sharp claws. One misstep and she might tear his face open without warning. No, Edward, you changed. I let out the faintest sigh and looked out the window, dazed. You call me stubborn, but the Edward the first used to know would never let anyone hurt me in the first place. Edward's hands clenched tightly. His indifferent gaze suddenly flickered with emotion. Oriana, it's not what you think. He looked frustrated. What do I have to do to prove to you that there's nothing going on between Vanessa and me? I raised an eyebrow, tone dripping with amusement. Transfer all your shares to me, then give me a whole lot of money. Do that, and I'll believe you, and maybe I won't divorce you. Deal? Edward's face instantly darkened. Oriana. So it was all about money. You were only ever with me for the cash, weren't you? Did you ever love me? As expected, he was just as disgusting as I thought. I didn't bother wasting more words. I opened the door. Edward, go ahead and pull out every dirty trick you've got, I'll play along. But no matter what, this marriage is over. Chapter 10. Edward and I parted on bad terms. Elena had just heard what happened on set and was absolutely fuming. I've never seen such a shameless, power-abusing piece of garbage. Seriously, she's like a 4-piece scumbag -3. She pulled up a video and showed it to me. I had asked someone to record it secretly before filming started. Vanessa's diva behavior was caught crystal clear. Should I post this now? I'll have the team push it across every platform. No need. I raised a hand to stop her. It's not the right time. I want this video to have maximum impact. I stayed focused on my work on set. Meanwhile, Edward, seemingly pissed off by me, took Vanessa to public events without even trying to hide it. Since she lost the lead role, he handed her even more high-end opportunities and endorsement deals. To keep her happy, he even canceled his schedule and took her on a hot air balloon ride in Turkey. The next time I saw Edward was when a behind-the-scenes kiss scene between me and the male lead went viral. It was my first on-screen kiss. Instagram exploded. Oh my god. I was there live. This scene was res hot several times. And they kissed so many times. I'm screaming. Oriana's kissing scenes are absolute perfection. I need more. There's no way they didn't catch feelings. Their ears were practically blushing. Is it just me or is Oriana being a hypocrite? She threw a fit over Edward doing kiss scenes with Vanessa. And now she's out here kissing like it's nothing? This is a bad look. Some of y'all are so biased it's insane. When Edward kissed Vanessa, it was all they look great together. But Oriana gets dragged? Keep your double standards to yourselves. That night, I had just finished a face mask when the doorbell rang. It was Edward. He had his suit jacket slung over one arm. His dress shirt was slightly undone, looking a little disheveled. I opened the door with a smile. What's up, Mr. Hahn? Here to finally agree to our divorce? Edward clenched his jaw, lips twitching. He tossed his jacket to the floor and stepped forward, grabbing the back of my head. And then, he kissed me. Hard. He was frantic, like a man possessed. I snapped back to my senses and tried to push him off, only for him to bite down on my lip like a punishment. We'd been together for 7 years, he knew every sensitive spot on my body. One move was enough to make my knees weak. His breath, warm and laced with alcohol, poured into my ear. Oriana, whose kissing is better, his or mine? I slapped him, hard, then wiped my lips with a tissue in disgust. Are you insane, Edward? If you're sick, go see a doctor. Don't show up here drunk and rabid. Edward ground his jaw and rubbed the corner of his mouth. Then, with the other side of his face, leaned in again. Come on, one more. Disgusting. I slapped him twice more, so hard my entire hand went numb. Edward ran a hand through his hair and slumped back onto the sofa, pulling me down with him. Are you done now? Oriana, stop it. His chin rested on my shoulder, his voice low, almost pleading. I'm even willing to forget how you deliberately approached me in the first place. Can't we just go back to how things used to be? Chapter 11. Over the years, plenty of people had whispered to Edward that the 3 years I spent struggling alongside him were all part of some carefully laid plan. They said I had discovered his identity early on, that I only stayed by his side for money and power. At first, Edward would defend me, but eventually, even he started to believe it. And the questions began. Why was it such a coincidence that you just happened to be squatting on the sidewalk that night and saw me? Why did you say yes the second I confessed? What exactly did you fall in love with? If I weren't the heir to the Han family, would you have stayed with me? The relentless filming schedule had left me completely exhausted. And after being interrogated like that again and again, I stopped having the energy or patience to keep answering. Eventually, Edward stopped asking, but the seed had been planted. The doubt festered inside him like a knot that only grew tighter, until it couldn't be undone. I lowered my head, and from this angle, I could just see the top of Edward's hair, soft and messy, with a little tuft sticking up. I used to love poking that silly cowlick. It felt like something only I got to see, the goofy, cute side of Edward. But from this angle now, I could also clearly see the scratch marks on the back of his neck, and that faint, lingering scent of perfume brushing past my nose, Vanessa's favorite fragrance. I stepped back. Let's make a deal. Edward looked up, his gaze suddenly filled with hope. Die for me. How's that? If you die, I won't divorce you. I'll be your grieving widow for the rest of my life. Sound good? Oriana. Rage stormed across Edward's face. He let out a low growl, his long fingers tapping against the sofa with growing intensity. Do you have to talk to me like this? How should I talk to you then? I ran my fingers through my hair in frustration and hurled a pillow at his face. You literally just climbed off Vanessa's bed. And the lipstick marks on your neck aren't even wiped off yet. Where do you get the nerve to sit here and play the victim? Go F********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* neck in panic. Let me explain. Explain in your ing will. How about that? I grabbed his tie and dragged him toward the door. He stumbled, caught the door frame, and steadied himself under the hallway light. It split his face into harsh lines of shadow and glare. He pulled out his phone and dialed the Golden Horse Film Awards Committee. Replace Oriana's award. Give it to Vanessa. For this award. I had filmed in freezing winter water without a stunt double, more than a dozen takes. I was hospitalized from cramps so bad I passed out. Elena had just told me it was practically a lock. And now, with just one sentence, Edward erased nearly 7 years of blood, sweat, and suffering. My hands began to tremble. My eyes stung, tears welling up as I stared at him, crushed, helpless. Edward seemed satisfied by my reaction. He lifted his chin and knocked twice on the doorframe. Oriana, I need you to remember one thing: everything you are now, everything you've become, is because of me. I swung my arm and smashed the porcelain doll off the shoe cabinet. It shattered at Edward's feet. That doll, we made it together. Once, when we snuck out to a crowded plaza, even with hats and masks, someone eventually recognized us. I had hugged that doll in my arms while Edward held my hand and we ran through the crowd, laughing freely. Later, we sat on a roaring motorcycle. The wind blurred the scenery around us, and the cheers and screams disappeared into the night air. Edward had shouted above the noise, Oriana, what's your dream? To win Best Actress. I had said, I want to reach the top step by step, all on my own. Edward stopped the bike, took off my helmet, and kissed me. I believe in you. You will get there. But now, it was Edward who destroyed my dream with his own hands. Chapter 12. On the day of the awards ceremony, the rumor that I was guaranteed to win Best Actress was already spreading like wildfire across Instagram. Fans had plastered the city square with posters of my past achievements. I wore an expensive set of jewelry and a backless evening gown. The chilly autumn wind sliced through the fabric, sharp and biting. Tonight. I had waited a long time. Dozens of flashbulbs lit up my face. Celebrities around me were already offering premature congratulations. I glanced at the back of Edward's head in the front row and clenched my fists slightly. Everyone thought the trophy was mine. As the presenter began announcing the Golden Horse Best Actress winner, I pulled out my most graceful smile. Tears of excitement shimmered in my eyes. I lifted my gown slightly, preparing to stand up. And then, the spotlight landed on Vanessa. Let's give a warm round of applause to Vanessa! The room froze for a split second, then erupted into thunderous applause. And that frozen smile on my face? Captured in high definition and posted online in seconds. Vanessa held the golden trophy in her hands, eyes brimming with crocodile tears as she dabbed the corners delicately. I never thought I'd win this award. Especially with so many other amazing and hardworking seniors in the room, especially Oriana. Honestly, in my heart, you deserved this more than I did. I believe next year, you'll be the one standing right here. Thinly veiled malice. A deranged, condescending speech. Our fanbases on social media went into full-scale war. LMAO, where are all of Oriana's little minions now? Didn't y'all swear she was taking Best Actress? Why didn't she go up to get it? Too good for awards now? Did you see Oriana's face? Looked like she was about to cry. So satisfying. That's what she gets for being so arrogant before. Karma. Baby. This award was meant for Vanessa. She earned it. Dropping some sweet tea here, I saw Edward and Vanessa attending a gala together last week. Looks like they might be making it official soon. My ship is real. Ugh, Vanessa? Seriously? She knows how she got that award. If the sea could spit up the Golden Horse trophy, she wouldn't need to carry rocks to fill it. Girls got enough water for an ocean. To everyone shipping Vanessa and Edward, do you just enjoy being the other woman in real life? Side chick fans raising future homewreckers. Wild. Edward retweeted a gossip account's video of my crushed expression, adding, though it breaks my heart to see my wife disappointed. The award truly belongs to Miss Lynn. Well deserved. Even at a time like this, Edward couldn't resist keeping up his fake devoted husband persona. Because of this, Instagram was practically on fire. The top 10 trending topics were all about me, and every single one had exploding labels next to them. I took a deep breath. This was it. My opportunity had come. Chapter 13. I reposted Edward's Instagram story, captioned, 7 years of love, and in the end, I still bet on the wrong person. I attached the photos I'd secretly taken at the hotel of Edward and Vanessa, the behind-the-scenes video of Vanessa slapping me repeatedly under the pretense of filming, and the audio of Edward at my doorstep, saying, Oriana's award, give it to Vanessa. What was he pretending for? Did he think my home didn't have security cameras? I originally wanted a clean break, a peaceful divorce, but I never expected to be humiliated by this pair of scumbags. Even the honor I earned was stolen from me. At Vanessa, since you like stealing things so much, you can have it all. The man and the trophy. Take the trash with you. As for me and Edward, we're starting divorce proceedings. No forgiveness, no compromise, no turning back. The moment I posted it, the internet exploded. People flooded Edward and Vanessa's comment sections with insults. Even the Golden Horse Film Awards committee wasn't spared. Netizens accused them of being corrupt. Edward's devoted husband persona collapsed overnight. Old photos of him and Vanessa at events resurfaced, as did the original footage of their intimate scenes. No wonder the chemistry felt real, because it was. They literally carried their affair onto the big screen. Disgusting. The spit strings in their kissing scenes? I can't unsee it. Edward better get tested. Seriously, who even dares kiss them now? The Han Group's stock took a hit. Their product live streams were bombarded and reported. Some angry netizens even bought products just to request refunds. Not a penny spent, maximum damage. Meanwhile, My popularity skyrocketed. The awards committee reached out, claiming they'd made a mistake and were willing to send me a replacement trophy. I ignored them. Elena, beside me, was using her alt account to like every hate comment about Edward and Vanessa. At last. Justice. He cheated during the marriage. Why the hell should you keep things civil? Tear off that fake mask of his. Who does he think he is? Some untouchable heir? I glanced at the trending topics. There were still plenty of people criticizing me, saying I was being dramatic, that I should have reflected on my own faults. I didn't care. I welcomed every comment. After all, my historical drama was about to air. All this buzz? It was fuel. And this was exactly why I chose today to rip the mask off. Chapter 14. That night, Elena and I went to the most expensive property I owned. We sat by the floor-to-ceiling windows, sipping red wine while gazing out at the riverside skyline. This was the best location in the city. Truthfully, I had never imagined I'd climb this high. When I was 8, my parents took me into the mountains, saying they wanted to go pick fruit with me. But when I climbed down from the tree, they were gone. Later, an elderly woman from the village took me in. She raised me for less than 3 years before passing away. 2. I survived by eating whatever food I could get, one bite here, one bite there. The village chief used to tell me that my parents hadn't abandoned me, they'd just lost me, that they'd come back for me someday. And I wondered, how would they find me? When I got into high school and moved to the city, I finally saw posters of celebrities plastered on every street. They were dazzling, impossible to look away from. I thought, maybe if I become a star, if I appear everywhere, my parents will find me. But as I grew up, I realized the truth. They were never going to look for me, because I wasn't lost. I was discarded. Now, I'm climbing higher and higher, not for them, but for myself. Elena, slightly tipsy, suddenly started reminiscing about love. When I was young, I dated a guy for 3 years, only to find out he had a wife. Nearly took half my damn life getting over that. I thought you and Edward would be different. Thought you two would make it to the end. But in the end, it's always the same story. Oriana, don't you feel a little regret? You gave him so much. I smiled and raised my glass. Sunk costs don't factor into major decisions. Shit, love. Here's to career. Here's to myself. Chapter 15. Edward was blowing up my phone. I didn't answer. He couldn't find me. The scandal had grown so big it was directly affecting his company's business. To clean up the mess, Edward's parents flew back from overseas. Apparently, his father beat the crap out of him. He ended up lying low in a hospital bed for a few days. When he woke up, the calls started again. He wanted to see me, so I brought the divorce papers to him. He didn't look great, sitting beside me, worn out and drained. He gazed at me with pleading eyes. His voice was almost begging. You really misunderstood me, baby. It only happened once with Vanessa. That time, you said you wanted a divorce. I was so angry. I got drunk and did something stupid. But aside from that, there was nothing between us. I've been fighting with you lately because someone told me you only got with me for the money, that you never really loved me. And I believed it. So I tried to use her to hurt you. Please believe me, I never loved Vanessa. I just thought she reminded me of you from those 3 years, and I felt sorry for her. I wanted to help her, the same way I wished I could have helped you back then. Back then, I had no resources, no connections. I was bullied, stepped on, crushed. So when he met someone who looked like me and had the same kind of story, Edward's heart wavered. He became her backing, gave her the best roles, the best endorsements. He helped her soar. But me? I had to stumble, crawl, and bleed for every step I took to get here. And now he had the nerve to say she's like me? I didn't say anything. Edward's voice choked slightly. It's my fault. I'm the one who wronged you. I pulled the corner of my mouth into a tired smile. You say I'm the one you love the most, Edward. But whether it was then, or now, you still hurt me. What I've always wanted is not to be loved the most, just to be treated right. If I didn't have the strength to resist, this whole thing would have been swept under the rug by now. I'd still be Edward's wife, and Vanessa would have officially become his mistress. Maybe what he really couldn't let go of wasn't me at all, but the memory of those 3 years we spent together in that tiny rental apartment. Chapter 16. 2 months passed in a blur. The moment my drama aired, it went viral. The pairing between me and the male lead shot straight to #1 on the ship charts. As for Vanessa, after everything that happened, she was blacklisted across the entire internet. I heard that in a desperate attempt to make a comeback, she secretly approached her old sponsor, offering to sleep with him only to be thrown out by security. And Edward? He wasn't doing well. To avoid him and to give myself a break, I took my entire team abroad for a month-long trip. Unable to find me, Edward started drinking heavily at home. I heard he ended up in the hospital with a bleeding ulcer. The day I got back to the country, Edward's mother came to see me. To be honest, I didn't have much of an impression of my mother-in-law. All I remembered was that on the day of our wedding, she put the family heirloom bracelet on my wrist. But in truth, she never liked me, because before I came into the picture, Edward already had a socially appropriate arranged match lined up. I took off the bracelet and set it on the table, sliding it over to her. Han mother didn't take it. She sipped her coffee and spoke slowly. Do you know, back then, even though his father and I agreed to let Edward go into the entertainment industry, we never agreed to let him marry you. I admit, sticking with him for 3 hard years wasn't easy, but Edward was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. You don't match him, but still, for you, he was willing to give up his inheritance rights to the Han group. His father beat him so badly he was covered in bruises, and he knelt in the rain all night. Edward had an old knee injury. Whenever it rained, it ached. I used to worry like crazy and asked him what had happened. He never told me. He just kissed me and joked. Hurts like hell, but it's worth it if it gets me some attention from my wife. I knew Han mother wasn't mourning our relationship. She was mourning her son. But what did that have to do with me? Does that mean when he gave his love, mine was just pretend? What's the point of telling me this? Is it supposed to erase the fact that he cheated on me? I'm never going back to how things were. If he keeps pushing it, I'll burn whatever feelings are left between us. I'd rather move abroad permanently than see his face again. There was a tense silence. Then Han mother suddenly snorted and flipped the phone lying face down on the table. Heard all that? Edward's voice came through the line, a stifled breath. He had been listening the whole time. She doesn't even want to see you anymore. Stop humiliating yourself. Stop chasing someone who won't look back. Just sign the damn divorce papers and come with me and your father overseas. With that, she stormed off. I tapped the rim of my coffee cup. It had gone cold. I didn't know Edward once gave up everything just to be with me. But he didn't know either. That time, because of his pride, he refused to beg. He offended the investor behind the film. So I spent days pleading with that investor to secure the role that won Edward his Best New Actor award. I even downed several bottles of high-proof liquor. On the way home, I was vomiting and crying the whole way. I had a miscarriage. The intense workload had made me overlook the warning signs. I went through a uterine procedure in the hospital and came home pretending nothing had happened. To this day, Edward still doesn't know that I was once pregnant with his child. Chapter 17. After that day, Edward finally agreed to the divorce. He gave me a lot of money. I didn't refuse it because it was what I deserved. Edward couldn't stay in the country anymore. He handed over the company here to one of his father's trusted men, and his parents took him abroad, saying he would develop his career over there. Before leaving, Edward said he'd wait for me. I won't change my number. If you ever decide to forgive me, I'll come back to you anytime. I glanced at the long string of zeros in my bank account and said nothing. Edward gave a self-deprecating laugh, lowered his eyes. There was a flicker of tears in them. Oriana, could you come to the airport tomorrow? Just to see me off? Of course I wouldn't. I wasn't going to waste my time. Edward still left, his figure looking lonely as he walked away. In the rearview mirror, his silhouette stretched longer and longer. On my way back, I passed a jewelry store and stopped the car. I went in and bought myself the most beautiful, most expensive set of jewelry they had. That shop had always stuck in my memory. It was during our first winter together. We had just left the film set and were walking down the quiet, freezing street at night. I was shivering, and he pulled me into his arms. We passed by that jewelry store, and a sparkling ring in the display caught my eye. I loved it. I had never seen anything so dazzling. It shone brighter than the stars in the sky. Noticing my gaze, Edward lit a cigarette. The smoke curled upward like a silver ring. He looked down at me, His eyes filled with laughter that sparkled like stardust under the moonlight. Oriana, marry me. I slipped my ring finger through the smoke and laughed. Get lost. That's the most insincere proposal ever. He hugged me tighter and promised that one day he'd put the biggest, most beautiful diamond ring in the whole city on my finger. And after we got married, he did. But no matter how many rings came after, none of them ever seemed as beautiful as that first one. Walking out of the jewelry store now, I couldn't help but smile. Actually, I'd kept a little secret from Edward all along. He was right. I was with him because he was rich and powerful. My head's always been screwed on straight. I didn't have the luxury of indulging in some star-crossed, poverty-porn love story in a moldy rental flat. That damp little place smelled like mildew with every breath, mixed with the stench of a public restroom. The creaky iron bed had collapsed on us, twice. I was already sick of that kind of life. Maybe for someone like Edward, raised in luxury, it was a thrilling experience. But for me, it was the life I fought tooth and nail to escape. In the beginning, I was in love, head over heels, naive and sincere. But love got crushed by reality long ago. To hell with love, it can't feed you. And the night I was going to break up with him, I overheard a phone call between Edward and his mom. I know, Mom, just give me 2 more years. If I still can't make it, I'll come back and inherit the company, all right? My hand froze on the doorknob. I thought maybe this was a gamble, but fortunately, I bet right. Story 2. I am the top actress in the entertainment industry. On my daughter's 7th birthday, my husband bought a time machine for 1 billion yuan. He said he regretted it. He wanted to go back 8 years, to save his first love from the flood, instead of me, his newlywed wife, who was pregnant at the time. So, on this special day, I watched helplessly as the daughter I had pampered for 7 years vanished into time. And to celebrate his first love's return from the dead, he set off fireworks across the entire city. When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn, back to 8 years ago, right before the flood. This time, I kicked Leo straight into the water, and quietly watched as the two of them swam together in the flood, reenacting the most romantic scene from Titanic. Chapter 1. Olivia! I jolted awake as if from a deep dream. My trembling hand instinctively reached for my stomach. Everything around me felt so familiar. I had been reborn, returned to the night before the flood 8 years ago, on my daughter Olivia's 7th birthday. My husband Leo traded her for a 10 billion yuan time machine after 8 years of marriage. He said, "Luna, I'm willing to give up everything to buy a time machine, as long as I can go back. I will bring Ruby back. She is my true love." And so, Olivia vanished before my very eyes. No matter how hard I searched, I couldn't find her. Worse still, no one in the world remembered her either. All they remembered was the high-profile CEO, Leo, flaunting his love for his wife and spending millions on fireworks throughout the city, all just to win a smile from the famous little actress, Ruby. 7 days and 7 nights of endless fireworks. I couldn't find my daughter, nor could I seek revenge. I died in bitterness beneath those dazzling, breathtaking fireworks. But now, I was back. On the eve of the flood, my assistant grumbled, somewhat displeased. "Luna, you're pregnant and passed out. And yet Leo's still in Ruby's tent, not even checking on you." I shook my head, unable to control the tears that fell, my heart surging with emotion. "Thank goodness, Olivia. This time, Mom will protect you." The rain was pouring down outside. I grabbed my assistant's hand immediately. "Notify the villagers now. Tell them all to evacuate to higher ground. The flood is coming, and by tomorrow morning, this place will be submerged." 8 years ago, this flood claimed the lives of over 1,000 people. Now that I've been reborn, I will do everything in my power to reduce the loss of lives. As my assistant was about to leave, I quickly called her back. "Wait! Don't disturb Leo and Ruby. Just get everyone to the boats first." Leo! In my past life, he regretted saving me, his newlywed wife who was pregnant at the time, during the flood. So, he spent 10 billion yuan on a time machine, disregarding Olivia's fate. He traveled back 8 years to choose a different person to save. This time, I want to see how he plans to escape alive. Chapter 2. This was my first year of marriage to Leo, and also my most successful year as a star. I was filming in a remote location, and Leo, under the pretense of visiting me on set, was secretly getting close to Ruby, a minor actress, behind my back. As I rushed to inform everyone about the evacuation, I passed by Ruby's tent, and coincidentally heard Leo's deep, raspy laughter. With me, he had always been cold and indifferent. Every time Olivia tried to please Leo, he ruthlessly rejected her. She was such an obedient child, always saying, "It's my fault for making Daddy angry." But despite being such a considerate child, Leo erased her from existence, and no one remembers her. He regretted not saving Ruby and used a time machine to go back to the past, altering the outcome. As a result, my daughter Olivia perished. How could I not hate him? How could I not feel bitter? Even outsiders couldn't bear to watch. Luna, what Leo did was too much. The director hesitated, giving me a sympathetic look. I swallowed my rising hatred and forced a smile. Young people like to play around. It's normal, but I had more important things to do. And soon, Leo wouldn't be laughing anymore. I told the director, "Director, if you trust me now, take everyone and get on the boat immediately." The director and I had worked together many times, so he trusted me completely. Hearing my words, he quietly started moving people. The sound of the rain was loud, pounding on the tent relentlessly. Leo and Ruby were inside their tent, watching Titanic together. They were laughing and playing, oblivious to the commotion outside, which was understandable. This time, I wouldn't be foolish enough to give up my career for love. I needed to protect the Olivia I was carrying and safeguard my current glory. We worked through the night, and most of the villagers were evacuated to the boat. This boat was a prop for the shoot, but fortunately, the director was wealthy enough to rent a real one. Otherwise, everyone here would have been in danger. As dawn broke, before leaving, I glanced one last time at Ruby's tent. It remained untouched throughout the night. I couldn't wait to see the look on their faces when they emerged to find a deserted landscape, engulfed by raging floodwaters. Chapter 3. My assistant gently reminded me, "Ma'am, it seems Leo is still in Ruby's tent. Should we go call them?" The water level was already above the waist, and the flood was quickly escalating. I glanced at my assistant and said, "You go ahead. I'll go get them." It was a life or death situation, and my assistant didn't dare delay. Under the pretense of going to call them, I personally lifted a corner of their tent, even though the tent was set up on high ground. Lifting a corner would be enough to let the floodwaters in and collapse it. Leo, Ruby, thank me. I've given you the rare chance to endure hardship together. When I finally boarded the boat, it was already full. Luna, come on, the last spot is yours. Yes, the last spot should have been mine. In the past life, if I hadn't stayed behind waiting for Leo, he wouldn't have had the chance to save me. Once on the boat, I watched Leo and Ruby frantically rushing towards us from a distance. In the face of life and death, it was a pity that there was no space for them on this entire boat. Chapter 4. A violent storm raged, with torrential rain pouring down. Floodwaters burst through the remote areas, carrying a mixture of mud and debris. Leo and Ruby were drifting in the water, clinging to each other. Luna, pull us up. I looked down at Leo's handsome, refined face, now so disheveled. He had always been proud and aloof, untouched by the filth of the world, but now he looked as though he had fallen from grace, pitiful, but not deserving of sympathy. I placed a trembling hand on my stomach, suppressing my rage, and said calmly, "But there's no room left. How do you expect me to save you?" Ruby, like a fragile, delicate flower, clung to him. Leo, I'm so cold. Don't worry. Ruby, Luna will definitely save us. Everyone watched my husband, the illustrious CEO Leo, tenderly comforting Ruby in his arms. The rest of the people on the boat were anxious, like ants on a hot stove. Finally, someone found one last life buoy. Luna, here's a life buoy. You can use it to pull Leo up. Of course, this was the same life buoy that had made Leo face an agonizing choice in the past, one he regretted for life. And now, I would make him choose again. I tossed the life buoy to Leo. Then, suppressing the smirk trying to form on my lips, I said regretfully, "Too bad, it can only save one person." Everyone on the boat was shouting, "Leo, use the life buoy. The flood will kill you." But that wasn't enough. I needed this moment as preparation for the story of our divorce, for what I would frame as a tragic widowhood. I signaled my assistant with a glance, who immediately pulled out her phone and started a live stream. The title read, "Real-Life Titanic Drama," with a quick investment of $10,000 to boost its visibility. The live stream shot to the trending list in seconds. At that moment, Ruby's eyes filled with tears, and they began to fall silently. "Leo, I love you. I was willing to give everything for you. But lately I've been feeling nauseous. It's probably because of what happened 2 months ago." Her words made Leo's face go pale. The entire internet exploded. Leo still hadn't realized the live stream was running. He was clearly torn. But I couldn't let that happen. Could I? "Let me help him a little," my assistant immediately chimed in. "Oh my, Leo. The whole internet knows that Ruby was your high school sweetheart. Can you really let her be swept away by the flood? She's so delicate, so small, so helpless. She relies on you completely. The viewers are all watching you right now. How could you not save her? Think carefully. Leo, don't do something you'll regret for the rest of your life." The water kept rising, and the crashing of waves echoed in our ears. The whole internet was watching Leo, the hero of pure love. "Since you love making choices so much, and morally blackmailing me. Now, when it's just you and Ruby, and only one of you can survive. Let's see what choice you'll make." Chapter 5. The number of viewers in the live stream skyrocketed. The entire internet was watching the scene of the high-profile CEO Leo and the fragile flower Ruby, both caught in peril. Leo's face suddenly darkened, his gaze blazing with fury. "Who told you to record this? Are you trying to get yourself killed?" Because the camera was aimed directly at Leo's face, he mistakenly assumed the assistant was only recording a video. He probably still didn't realize this was being broadcast live. Things were starting to get interesting. This time, I was determined to let Leo struggle in the water, to expose his hypocrisy, and make the internet explode. The cold water soaked through Ruby's body, and her face turned as white as a sheet, her entire frame trembling. "Leo, can you give me the life buoy? I don't want to die." Ruby's slender frame clung to Leo's side, barely holding on, trying to prevent herself from being swept away by the flood. I couldn't help but curl my lips into a smirk. "Leo, now that you are also part of the equation, let's see how you make your choice." As I expected, he was unable to decide at the moment. By now, the number of viewers in the live stream had surpassed 1 million. The whole internet was watching, waiting to see Leo's struggle to survive. This was more thrilling than any survival show. Then, amidst the anticipation of millions, a cold, ruthless voice rang out, loud enough for everyone on the boat to hear. "Whoever jumps off the boat and gives up their spot will be rewarded with 1 million. Leo was a businessman, cold and calculating to the extreme. It was as if he was negotiating whose life to buy. 1 million. Enough to make these ordinary people's eyes light up. To them, it was an astronomical sum. My expression immediately turned cold. This was bad. Leo was planning to buy someone's life. His arrogant gaze swept over the crowd. Even in the midst of a flood, he still carried the air of a superior, with the authority and privilege he had been raised with. 1 million. That's enough to last you a lifetime. He sneered. More than enough to buy your life. Chapter 6. The internet exploded. The people on the boat lit up with greed, but it sparked outrage. Viewers in the live stream were furiously condemning Leo as a ruthless capitalist. Leo doesn't even care about the lives of the people on the boat. 1 million for a life? Even selling body parts wouldn't be so cheap. I hate the face of these capitalists, looking down on everyone. He's just like my boss. Most of the villagers on the boat were itching to take the deal. Some who were strong swimmers had already begun taking off their jackets, preparing to jump for the money. I glanced lightly at my assistant. My assistant immediately called out to them, "Wait! Don't your lives matter too? You're rushing to die for him. But what if you earn the money but never live to spend it? Besides, with no guarantee, how can you trust his words? He hasn't even paid you yet, and you're already jumping to your death? When there's no proof after you're gone, it'll be too late. At that moment, a bolt of lightning struck the sky with a loud rumble. Everyone fell silent. The excitement on Leo's face disappeared instantly, and in desperation, he raised the offer. 5 million. 5 million for 2 spots. If someone jumps down, 5 million will be transferred immediately. Now, Leo's calm facade started to crack, and a trace of panic appeared on his always composed face. Even though he looked flustered, he held Ruby tightly by the waist, showing obvious affection. But sadly, no one believed him anymore. For most of the villagers, 1 million was already an astronomical amount. 5 million? That sounded even more impossible. Like a bluff, the bigger the promise, the more they doubted him. As for the crew, they knew Leo well enough. In a life-or-death situation, who would really take the risk? So, everyone just rubbed their noses, scratched their heads, and stayed seated quietly. Leo, it's not worth it. Money's not more important than life. Exactly. With the waves this big, who's going to jump in? Leo's face grew paler, his expression darkening. But just at that crucial moment, the life buoy was snatched from his hands. Chapter 7. Ruby grabbed the life buoy without hesitation and slipped it onto herself. Ruby! You! Leo's pupils shrank, his cold expression shifting to one of shock, then slowly turning into pain. In a hoarse voice, he asked, Ruby, why are you doing this? Well, obviously, to survive. I fought to suppress the smirk that was threatening to form on my lips, feeling a wave of satisfaction. Leo, doesn't it feel terrible to be betrayed by your first love? Leo, I'm sorry, but I have to do this for our child. I want to live. Ruby's shoulders trembled as she spoke with emotion. The fortune teller said that I'll only have sons in this life, no daughters. If I wasn't pregnant with our son, I would rather die and give you the life buoy. But now I'm carrying our child. I have 2 lives inside me. Leo, this is our son. Hearing Ruby's words, Leo was left speechless. He obviously didn't want to die. In the past, he always believed that his family had an empire to inherit, so he favored sons over daughters. In our previous life, he resented Olivia for being a girl, so now, he turned to the crew, trying to apply pressure once again, using his position as one of the investors to threaten them. But it was useless. Regular workers value their lives too, don't they? Leo, now completely cornered, shot me a dangerous look. Luna, you don't want to just stand there and watch me die, do you? You'll save me, right? I shrugged, a look of regret on my face. But I can't save you either. Leo clenched his teeth, shivering, but his piercing gaze remained fixed on me. No, you can save me. His tone was so sure, it sent chills down my spine. My heart sank as I coldly glared at him. Then I heard him say, without hesitation, you come down, and let me take your place. Chapter 8. The entitlement in Leo's voice chilled me to the core. Did he really believe I loved him so much that I'd willingly die for him? I hadn't even begun to avenge the hatred from our past life. Leo, you're really giving yourself too much credit, aren't you? Who gave you the confidence to think I'd switch places with you? Leo's face suddenly changed. He stared at me in shock, his expression hardening as he said flatly, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have come here to check on you. This wouldn't have happened. And ultimately, it's related to you. If something happens to me, you won't walk away from this cleanly either. I once held a sweet, idealized view of Leo. He was my childhood friend, my confidant, and my lover. But now, with all the illusions stripped away, Leo was just Leo, an ordinary man with no charm left. Oh, really? Did I ask you to check on me in Ruby's tent? Everyone knows you've been staying up late, having deep talks about life with her. I tore into him mercilessly. If there's someone to blame, it's not me. It's you. I already gave you the life buoy, but it's your own fault you couldn't keep it. What else can I do? Take all your deep feelings and share them with the king of the underworld. The live stream viewers were completely stunned. Seeing the comments explode, I felt euphoric, unable to get anything from me. Leo shifted his attention to Ruby. With only one life buoy between them, only one could survive. The flood raged on. No one on the boat was willing to give up their spot, and the life buoy could only save one. Leo's face darkened as he looked at Ruby. His fist clenched in frustration. Chapter 9. Leo. Ruby's tear-filled eyes widened in fear, her face pale with panic. Leo. I can feel our baby slipping away. He might not survive. Leo. Don't you want him to live? The mention of the baby was the only thing that could stir any emotion in Leo. At that moment, he still didn't know that I, too, carried his child. But this time, my daughter belongs to me alone. He has nothing to do with her. As for whether Ruby's so-called son is actually Leo's, that's hard to say. My assistant couldn't help but lean in and whisper in my ear. Luna, Ruby isn't as innocent as she seems. Leo is no match for her. I curled my lips into a slight smile. Of course, I knew that already. Who doesn't know the gossip in this circle? Ruby is infamous for being a manipulator. As long as a man has money, looks, or status, she's willing to be with him. She drifts between men, and they all fall into the palm of her hand. Leo was just one of them. The child is merely Ruby's bargaining chip for survival at this point. But perhaps it's the power of the first love filter. Leo firmly believed the child was his. So, he resolutely went his own way. Watching him walk away, I narrowed my eyes. Leo, you better not be dead this time. Only then will you see whose child your sweet first love is really carrying. In the flood, most lives were saved. As the water receded, a full-scale search was launched to find Leo, dead or alive. They needed to recover him. After an entire day of searching, Leo's whereabouts were finally discovered. He knew how to swim, so he was barely clinging to life. After being rushed to the hospital, Leo stayed in the ICU for 3 days and 3 nights. I, however, never visited him once. I was fully focused on filming. It wasn't until I heard that Leo had narrowly escaped death that I remembered I needed to go file for divorce. When I reached the hospital room, I heard Ruby's sobbing voice. Leo, you're finally awake. You have no idea how worried I've been. I've been so scared these past few days. I didn't mean to take the life jacket. It was all for our son. Leo, you'll forgive me, right? I glanced over and saw the deep affection on Leo's sickly face. He held Ruby's hands and gently comforted her. Ruby, I've never blamed you. You're a mother. I understand your desire to protect our son. Leo, you have no idea how awful Luna has been. That day, she even started a live stream, and now people are attacking us online. Leo, pale as a ghost, shot up in his hospital bed, his voice hoarse. What? He rubbed his forehead, his eyes full of shock. Luna dared to broadcast live? Is she insane? Does she not realize what damage this could do to the company? I nearly burst out laughing. Did Leo really not know that his company's stock had already plummeted? Chapter 10. I pushed open the door and glanced at the man, worn out and sick, lying in the hospital bed. I'm not crazy. If anyone's losing it, it's your company's PR team. After all, Leo's public image is beyond saving this time. During this period, the news about Leo using money to save his own life has dominated the trending topics for days. A cold, indifferent glint appeared in his eyes. Luna, what good does this do you? Are you deliberately watching me and Ruby suffer, drifting helplessly in the flood? Just then, Leo's mother suddenly burst through the door. Leo, how can you say that about Luna? Don't you think all of this is your fault? And this young lady, Ruby. Leo, you need to cut ties with her immediately and apologize to Luna. Leo's mother shot him a quick look, signaling him to back down and apologize to me. As if I didn't know, the same routine played out in my past life. My mother-in-law and Leo loved to put on this act in front of me and Olivia. One would play the good cop, and the other the bad cop, slowly eroding my family's wealth. However, this time, Leo firmly held onto Ruby's hand, his tone steady and resolute. Mom, Ruby is pregnant with my child. She's carrying the grandson you've always wanted. I'm going to give her a home. His words hit me like a heavy blow. I wasn't angry, but my heart ached endlessly for Olivia. In our past life, Olivia tried so hard to win over the family, but because she was a girl, they never gave her a second glance. And Leo, he never once considered giving Olivia a harmonious, loving family or being a good father figure to her. Calmly, I reached into my bag, pulled out the divorce papers, and placed them in front of him. Perfect. Let's get divorced then. Leo's mother immediately grew frantic, her voice trembling. Leo, have you lost your mind? Did the flood mess up your brain? You want to give her a home. But what about Luna? Her eyes shifted, and then she turned to me, saying, Luna, dear, don't worry, I'll take care of this for you. Let's just forget about the whole flood incident. I won't blame you for it. But divorce? That's out of the question, isn't it? A flash of shock passed across Leo's eyes as he stared at the divorce agreement for a solid few seconds before reacting. All right, I agree to the divorce. Leo's mother couldn't hold back any longer and screamed, Leo! Leo and I had entered into a business marriage less than a year ago. Back then, my father saw how much I liked Leo and agreed to help his family overcome several hurdles. It was only with my family's financial support that Leo's failing company was restored to stable operations. But once we divorce, my family will pull out our investments and funding. At that point, what would happen to Leo's company was anyone's guess. Despite his mother's furious insults, Leo remained expressionless as he signed the divorce papers. Just before I left, I heard him say decisively, what does it matter if Luna's company pulls out? My child can't live without me. Ruby is the woman I truly want to marry, and I'm willing to give up everything for her and our child. Chapter 11. After the smooth divorce, I focused even more on my acting. The filming of this movie was nearing its end, and Eric, the award-winning actor, came to make a guest appearance in the film. During the shoot, he frequently flirted and bantered with Ruby. Everyone on set knew their relationship wasn't ordinary. Some had even caught Ruby and Eric embracing and kissing. I pretended not to see anything. Who cares if my ex-husband was cheated on or not? It has nothing to do with me. The only one left in the dark was Leo, the pure love champion. In my past life, it wasn't until after we got married that I learned Ruby had been his first love during their college years. So I could never quite understand if Leo had fallen for Ruby at first sight back then. Why didn't he tell me? Why did he rush into a quick marriage with me right after graduation? My fingers brushed over my stomach. In this life, my Olivia is alive, healthy, and strong. When she's born, I have no intention of telling Leo. He doesn't deserve to be Olivia's father, neither in name nor in any other way. Today, while I was taking a break on set, I saw Leo step out of his car. He walked toward me with a spring in his step, his lips curved slightly in a good mood. Today was the final day of filming, so why was Leo here now? Then, he made a point to come over and say, I'm going to propose to Ruby. She's carrying my son, and in a few months, she'll give birth. I have to give her the status she deserves. I can't let my son be born a bastard. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Everyone on set was there, and I wished him success in his proposal. Ruby is pure, innocent, gentle, and virtuous, a real good girl. His cold, stern expression softened instantly. When he spoke of Ruby, his face was full of tenderness. But then, his expression shifted as he looked at me. Luna, you really need to work on your attitude, or no man will want you. Chapter 12. The curve of my lips stiffened, and I stared at Leo without expression. Why should I need a man's approval? If they get close to me, isn't it their privilege? I raised an eyebrow and continued, and by the way, do you really think the baby Ruby is carrying is yours? Upon hearing this, Leo's expression changed, his face instantly darkening. Luna, watch your words. Of course, the child she's carrying is mine. Since he was so confident, I figured I'd better get my popcorn ready to watch the show. Leo strode away, his eyes full of displeasure. He kept Ruby hidden, and after entering the RV on set, neither of them made another appearance. My assistant handed me a video, as if she had discovered a major secret. Sis, I accidentally caught this. She whispered a few words in my ear. I raised an eyebrow and smiled at my assistant. The final scene of the movie wasn't wrapped up until late at night. To celebrate, The director had bought a huge amount of fireworks, which lit up the sky in a dazzling display. Under the canopy of fireworks, Leo approached slowly. He walked toward Ruby, each step filled with determination. Beneath the brilliant display, he knelt on one knee and pulled out a ring worth millions, proposing, "Ruby, I didn't know how to make you happy before, and I kept upsetting you. But now I've learned how to love. I want to give you a home, to give our child a home." The crowd fell into a stunned silence. Everyone knew about Ruby's relationship with Eric. This complicated love triangle was difficult to root for. Ruby was at a loss for words, while Eric looked on as if he were just watching the drama unfold. Leo spoke each word with determination. "Ruby, will you marry me?" Ruby remained silent, her gaze drifting toward Eric from time to time. As the silence dragged on, Leo's expression grew more and more anxious. Amid the tension, a screen behind him suddenly lit up, its bright glow drawing everyone's attention. On the screen, a video began to play, with Ruby's voice echoing, "Eric, I'm pregnant with your child. You will love me, won't you?" The crowd was stunned. Leo's joy instantly turned to an icy coldness. He whipped around, staring at the screen, where Ruby and Eric were embracing. At that moment, his expression crumbled. Unbelievable! He was utterly devastated. Chapter 13. In the video, Ruby leaned dependently into Eric's arms. The display of affection was like an invisible slap that struck Leo's face hard. But the worst was yet to come. Eric chuckled and asked, "So, whose baby are you really carrying?" "Of course it's yours. This child is already 3 months old. If it's not yours, whose could it be?" Don't believe those videos online. When the flood hit, of course I had to lie and tell that fool the baby was his. Otherwise, why would he have saved me? I nearly laughed out loud. Leo's eyes turned bloodshot, and a hint of anguish filled his gaze. "Ruby, so, you've been lying to me from the start? This baby was never mine." Ruby's eyes reddened, and tears slowly rolled down her cheeks. She looked pitiful, as always. "Leo, I truly love you. I was just fooling around with them." What a joke. Who would still believe such nonsense? Now Ruby was desperately trying to placate Leo, while Playboy Eric couldn't have cared less about the situation. After his failed proposal and the public revelation that he'd been cheated on, Leo was utterly humiliated. He had cheated during our marriage, then divorced me, only to be cheated on by Ruby afterward. Soon, everyone on the internet was talking about Leo. His personal scandals were directly impacting the company's reputation. With the growing public outrage, the company's stock plummeted, and Leo became the target of endless ridicule online. Leo dumped a top-tier queen like Luna and fell for Ruby, a classic femme fatale. This is what happens to a scumbag. A blind CEO like him. How can his company make good products? Their quality control issues came up before, and it was Luna who saved them by endorsing their brand. The public uproar grew, and once the storm started, it was hard to calm down. In just 1 month, Leo's company suffered unprecedented damage. This time, I'd like to see how long Leo can last without my family and without me. A month later, after wrapping up my shoot, I returned home to find Leo standing at my door. He looked at me, his voice trembling slightly. "Luna, can you help me now?" Chapter 14. Leo clearly hadn't been sleeping well. He looked exhausted. I stared at him coldly and asked, my voice icy, "Help you with what?" "The company's stocks have plummeted. If this continues, it won't be long before we face an even worse crisis. Luna, only you can help me now." I gave him a faint smile, dripping with sarcasm. "Leo, why don't you ask Ruby? I'm sure she'd be more than willing to help. Now that you're desperate, you come to me?" Where was this attitude when you were on top of the world? Willing to give everything to Ruby? At the mention of Ruby, Leo's expression changed immediately. He pressed his lips together, struggling to hide his frustration, trying to remain calm. He said, "Luna, you know Ruby can't help me. Only your family's business can save me now. Even if it means merging our companies. It doesn't matter, just as long as you agree." It was clear that his company was in dire straits. Otherwise, the high and mighty Leo would never have come to me, saying such things. But I had no interest in taking over a company that was rotten to the core. No, I don't want to. It's filthy. The moment those words left my mouth, Leo's eyes narrowed, and a look of obvious anger spread across his handsome face. What do you mean? Exactly what I said. It's not the company that's filthy, it's you. If I truly helped him, I would be stuck in an endless entanglement with him for the rest of my life. Instead of that, I'd rather build my own empire. Besides, my family's business is thriving. Why would I take on a sinking ship? From that day forward, I never saw Leo again. My career continued to flourish, and Olivia, growing in my belly, was healthy and strong. I was starting to show. I wasn't keen on exposing my private life to the media, but despite my best efforts, I was photographed while out. Soon, the news of my pregnancy exploded online. Everyone was speculating whether I would reconcile with Leo for the sake of the child. The rumors quickly reached Leo's ears. We crossed paths at an event. He was scrambling to rebuild connections with former business partners and secure funding. He had lost all dignity, accepting rejection without a second thought. Gone was the Leo from our past life, when everyone catered to his whims. Now, he was a shadow of his former self. Our eyes met. I turned to leave, but Leo quickly rushed forward, blocking my way. Luna, you're pregnant, aren't you? It's my child, right? Chapter 15. I narrowed my eyes, calmly meeting his gaze full of hope. In our past life, he had never anticipated Olivia's birth. On the day I gave birth to Olivia, Leo was in a company meeting. The delivery was far from smooth. I suffered massive hemorrhaging on the operating table. I barely survived, and gave birth to Olivia. Afterward, as a husband and a father, he never cared for either of us. Now, seeing him like this, all I could feel was disgust at his hypocrisy. Luna, I know it's my child. For the sake of the baby, just forgive me this time. I let out a cold laugh, unable to suppress the hatred bubbling inside me. I could no longer hold it in. I swung my hand and slapped Leo across the face. The crisp sound of the slap echoed through the event, drawing everyone's attention. Leo turned his face to the side, his cold, vengeful gaze fixed on me. His eyes burned with anger as he lowered his voice. Luna, was I wrong? The child is mine. What's the big deal about putting up with things for the child? I'll treat you well from now on. Why should I put up with it? Leo, tell me, why should I endure this? I crossed my arms, a faint smile tugging at the corner of my lips, my voice calm and indifferent. I have money and a career. After my child is born, I can give her the best life. She will be treated like a princess by everyone. Why should I lower myself in front of you? You think too highly of yourself. When the child is born, she will have nothing to do with you. I can be both her mother and her father. She will be happier without you in her life than anyone else could ever make her. Leo, humiliated, couldn't speak for a long time. He clenched his fists, trying to suppress his emotions. As I passed by him, I whispered, "Oh, and I forgot to tell you, her last name is mine. When Olivia is born, she won't be the neglected child from the past life. She will be my treasure." At that moment, Leo's face turned even more wretched, far worse than when I slapped him. But I loved seeing him like this. The more miserable and defeated he was, the more I enjoyed it. Chapter 16. Since the release of my movie in theaters, it has been a massive success, going viral across the internet. My acting was widely praised, and positive reviews poured in from everywhere. Luna is absolutely stunning. Her figure is beautiful, and she's got the acting skills to match. I'm in love. As expected, once a woman leaves a man, she becomes unstoppable. But Luna used to be a hopeless romantic. Could she reconcile with Leo because of the baby? I don't know who started the rumor about me getting back together with Leo, but soon, the whole internet was buzzing about it. During the film's promotional event, a reporter asked again, "Will you be reconciling with Leo?" Facing the cameras, I answered calmly, "I have no intention of getting back together. The child is the child, and I am me." And here, I'd like to remind all my female fans, no matter if you're pregnant or have a child, don't lose yourself. These words were for me as much as they were for them. I regretted how, in my past life, I gave up my career for love. A few months later, I heard the news that Leo had gone bankrupt. His bankruptcy didn't surprise me. Without the financial support from my family's company, his business couldn't stand on its own. Cutting losses was the best outcome. What did surprise me was how long Leo managed to struggle before it all fell apart. He had gotten entangled in lawsuits over economic disputes, owing a mountain of debt he couldn't repay. As a result, he was sued and taken to court. The main office building of Leo's company was already listed for auction by the court. I had stopped all my public activities to prevent any complications with my pregnancy. Each day, I rested at home, eagerly awaiting Olivia's arrival. At the same time, I had my assistant keep an eye on the auction. Finally, I successfully won the bid for his company's headquarters building. The day I arrived at the company, I saw Leo being taken away by the police. Luna, you've come to save me, haven't you? Chapter 17. I took off my sunglasses, looking at Leo, who was about to get into the police car. Boss, it's this building, the person beside me said respectfully, inviting me to go inside. I glanced at Leo, smiling as I spoke. I'm the legal owner of the company now. From today on, this place belongs to me. Leo's expression shifted instantly. His eyes filled with a complex mix of emotions, hatred among them. You have the money but still won't save me. Luna, do you hate me that much? Hate. Of course I hate you. Letting you rot in prison for life is too merciful. I wish you were dead. If it weren't for the law, I would have had someone get rid of Leo a long time ago. That way, my precious Olivia would no longer have a heartless father, and no one would ever bully her again. Leo was sent to prison due to his financial crimes, while I founded my own company. Not only that, but I was also nominated for Best Actress. That night, our film crew gathered together. Ruby happened to be sitting next to me when I won the Golden Horse Award for Best Actress. I caught the fleeting look of jealousy in Ruby's eyes, though she tried hard to hide it. I noticed. Congratulations, Sister Luna, you've really made it. Your career is thriving, and your baby will be born soon, she said. I smiled slightly and leaned in, whispering, thank you, but what about your baby? Ruby's pregnancy had ended in a miscarriage. Eric didn't want to take responsibility, and of course, her agency wouldn't allow her to have the child easily. So Ruby had no choice but to terminate the pregnancy. In my words, the smile on Ruby's face vanished instantly. I walked up to the stage and took my trophy. This has been my dream. Before, it was a regret. Now, it's complete. I'm so grateful to be here, to exist in this world, not just a fleeting dream. Existence itself is beautiful. This trophy is a testament to Olivia being with me. In this life, she will always be by my side. Chapter 18. The day of Olivia's birth. I was both excited and filled with anticipation. Thanks to my careful preparation, I avoided the postpartum hemorrhage that had nearly taken my life in my previous life. I successfully gave birth to Olivia. She was sweet and adorable, just like in my past life. Olivia was exceptionally smart. She learned to talk before she even turned one. When she called me Mama for the first time, in that moment, my heart raced with joy, an indescribable wave of happiness. Tears flowed freely from my eyes. The joy of recovering something precious that had been lost is something no one else could understand. Olivia became the apple of my eye, cherished in the palm of my hand. She was adored by everyone in the company and became my most important family member. But while some were celebrating, others were mourning. In the same year I gave birth to Olivia, Ruby crossed paths with a powerful figure in the entertainment industry and made an enemy. Ruby's acting skills were never that good, and word has it that she offended the wrong person by rearranging her seating at an event she attended. After that, Ruby was blacklisted in the entertainment industry. She never appeared in public or on screen again. She was quickly forgotten in the fast-moving world of showbiz, as if she had never existed. Seasons changed, and soon enough, it was Olivia's 7th birthday. I threw her a birthday party at the most luxurious 5-star hotel in the city center. At that moment, my little girl stood in front of a 7-tiered cake, eyes closed as she blew out the candles. A smile spread across her innocent little face, her shallow dimples making her look even more adorable. Mom is not just my mom. She's also my dad. She's the person Olivia loves most in the whole world. Since she could remember, Olivia had never asked for her father or sought out a father figure. I gave her enough love. And in her world, having me was more than enough. The flickering candlelight reflected on her sweet face, and tears welled up in her eyes as she choked out, "I want to be with Mom forever." My heart swelled with emotion as I held her close. "Olivia, do you want to hear Mommy sing to you?" Olivia kissed my cheek and nodded with a bright smile. Holding the microphone, I stood on the stage of the banquet hall and gave her a special birthday gift. I sang 7 sweet and innocent children's songs, the notes dancing in the air, carrying my endless blessings for my daughter. And in my heart, I made a silent prayer. I prayed that my Olivia would live a life full of peace, joy, and happiness, free from worry or harm.